What's up guys, Card Protagonist here, and today we're gonna be doing a deck profile on the Jackknife Go Ritter Granthese deck as shown in the anime used by Tetsuku Ryuenji against Gao Mikado in the final anime fight. So this deck is really popular among players just because of how powerful Granthese is and how awesome the deck looks. The winning image of this deck is to turbo into Granthese, which is an unstoppable 12k defense with a quadruple penetrate attack. So without further ado, let's get started with the deck profile. The flag and buddy I'll be using is the Tetsuku Ryuenji Secret Flag and the Buddy Red Jackknife. It just goes really well with the theme of the deck. So the reason why I use Jackknife as the buddy is because basically Jack's ability to toolbox into other Jackknife forms really helps speeds up your Granthese plays. So he's a really important part of the deck. But otherwise, we also do play the Jack and Bao, which is pretty similar to Jack because once Jack enters the field, he gets a free soul. So basically riding a Granthese over it instantly allows you to access into Go Ritter, which is your main winning image. So Jackknife's buddy, basically what Tetsuku would do, make Jack his buddy. So yeah, let's get started. So first up, let's start with the win con of the deck. 3 copies of Granthese. The reason why I call this card a win con is because it is a really powerful card by its own. However, it does take a little bit of setup to get it running. Release condition: you have 5 life or less and have a Jackknife Go Ritter on the field or a Star Dragon World Dragon Force. So you can actually use it in the Star Dragon World version of Jack. This card on the field cannot be destroyed or returned to the hand, and its abilities cannot be nullified. Most importantly, all damage you take is reduced by 2. Effect damage, battle damage, all reduced by 2. It's a really big step up from the previous form, the Go Ritter, that only makes all damage you take become 2 instead. Reducing 2 is really powerful in this meta, especially with a lot of multi-attacks. Your opponent's best bet is to link attack into this guy, hoping that they don't have any dragon shields. So it is a very powerful card. Of course, it has the quadruple attack. This baby will be able to attack 4 times, dishing out 8 damage with the penetrate ability. So even if your opponent does have a monster in the center, they'll be taking 8 damage with this 4 attack. It is a really powerful card. As an item, it has 12k defense, which means in order to even deal damage to your life points, they must surpass this 12k defense. So it's a really powerful card and it's really worth investing in. And next, I'll play 3 copies of the original Go Ritter. Go Ritter is a pretty old card from BT4, you guys could see. Back then in BT4, 10k defense is really powerful, and Go Ritter is considered to be one of the strongest Buddyfight cards back then, and the SPR looks pretty nice. So equip cost, you can only equip if you have 5 life or less and have a Jackknife on the field with 3 or more souls. So you gotta do a little bit of setup before you can ride into Go Ritter, a really powerful card. You gotta pay 2 gauge as well. This card cannot be destroyed or returned to your hand, and it's treated like there's a size 3 armor dragon on the field. Unfortunately, this card isn't so good before because it is treated as a size 3 on the field. So basically the size rule still applies and you won't be able to call any size 1 and above monsters. But now Granthese has the effect removed, so you can also call monsters together with having an awesome Granthese on the field. Go Ritter is just there in order for you to bridge into Granthese, so do not worry too much about it. Most importantly, you just want to go into him so that you can put Granthese and evolve on top. So yeah, it's just pretty much that. If you guys want to reduce, it's okay. I definitely say 2 and above. You do want to draw into Go Ritter in order to perform your combos. So 3 copies of Go Ritter. Now let's go on to the main setup of the deck. 4 copies of Jackknife Dragon. Jackknife Dragon is still a very important card in this version of Jack because it is able to toolbox into any form of Jackknife. Call cost, pay 1 gauge. So it's a 1 gauge cost to call this boy. Activate, you may pay 2 gauge. If you do, search your deck for a monster with Jackknife in its name and call it on top of this monster. So you actually can use it in Dragon Iron as well. However, I'm just gonna stick to the anime and explain more of Tetsuku's deck just in case you guys want to build a Jackknife Go Ritter deck yourself. Alright, so basically this allows you to go into any form of Jack. One of my favorite combos is to have Jack, then use his pay 2 gauge skill to call into Granthese. Granthese will instantly give you a free soul when he enters the field. It is not a call cost. Just like that, you have 2 souls. Then from your hand, you could either call Granthese or you can just put a burn energy. And instantly you're set up for Jack Go Ritter. That is amazingly consistent. Now back then we do have a lot of problems, but right now Jack has so much draw power and search engine, which makes this combo really consistent. I'm so happy because I can finally play the Go Ritter deck, which is one of my favorite decks because of how awesome the deck is. So Jack is a very important part of the engine. However, it is not the end of the world if you do not draw him, because we play 4 copies of Aspiration Existence, Bao Dragon and Jackknife. Now this guy is similar to Jack, but it's kind of better than Jack if you have the right combos, because instead of having to pay extra 2 gauge in order to evolve to another form, because when this card enters the field, you already have 1 soul. So all you need is 1 Granthese. You just need to pay 1 more gauge to call Granthese, and Granthese effect will put another card from the top of deck into soul. Just like that, you can evolve into Go Ritter. So yeah, it can serve as a backup. Next, we play 4 copies of Granthese, a really powerful support from the Buddy Legend set. Call cost, put this card on top of up to 1 monster with Jackknife card name. So if you don't have a Jack, you could actually just call it on the field and it instantly has 1 soul. if you have a Jack, you can just evolve on top. A really flexible card. It is similar to Esther, which you do not necessarily need to evolve, and it can also support itself. So this is also a very good target to ride. So it's basically an upgraded version of Bow and Jack, because it enters a field, get a free soul at 1 gauge. So, and of course, it can also evolve on top, which gives you extra soul for that instant Go Ritter setup. But the reason why I really like Granthese is because of his activate ability. Deal 2 damage to you. Very important wording, because it says deal 2 damage to you. When combined with Granthese, basically all damage you take is reduced by 2. This includes your own effect damage. So basically, you can, once you're in Granthese, this guy appears and you can get this effect for free. Deal 2 damage to yourself, and for this turn, this card gains penetrate and double attack. So this is a Jackknife with double attack instantly, and has penetrate and 7 attack and 7k attack power, which is actually a magic number right now. Another reason why this card is so damn important is because let's say your opponent's going first, they attack you for 2 to 3 crit damage. You call this because in order to even go into Go Ritter, you must have 5 life or less. And also Granthese. Granthese, the Go Ritter needs a 5 life or less condition. So in order to turbo into Granthese, you will have to deal damage to yourself. So for example, if your opponent attacks you 3 crits, you go to Granthese, take 2 damage, instantly 5 life, Granthese, get your combo set up, go to Go Ritter, go to Granthese, and from there you just lock down your opponent. So it is a really consistent card, and it really helps you bring down your life. Back then we actually had to use Jackknife Thunderstorm for it, but right now we have Granthese, which is a fantastic card in order for you to turbo into your Go Ritter, and also a very powerful monster on the field when you're in Granthese. So it's a really versatile card and serves many purposes in this deck. 4 copies because it's so damn good. You want an SL gauge for free? You play 4 copies of Burn Energy. Burn Energy is still a very important card in this deck, just because of the extra gauge you can give you. Kokos, put this card on top of a monster with Jackknife on the field. So basically this card is not allowed to be caught unless you have a Jack already on the field. When this card enters the field, you can charge 2 gauge, and it's so good. If you look at the art, it's transforming into Go Ritter, which is really cool. So yeah, gives you extra gauge, the extra soul. The common combo I like to do is Jack, use pay 2 gauge, call to Granthese gains a free soul, then finally just get back the free gauge cost with a Burn Energy, then go. And if you're not 5 life, you can just pay Granthese, then call Burn Energy, then go into Go Ritter, then go into him. Really easy. It may look very troublesome, but actually it's really consistent in this deck. And the last monster of the deck we play is 3 copies of a Hero Spirit, Jackknife Spirit. So the reason why I do play him is because he helps you get extra soul, and it's a Jack just in case you don't draw any Jack. Counter, put this card from your hand into a soul. If you do, resend a Jack monster. So it is actually a kind of good resender, especially if you are playing this. Another alternative to this is you can play 3 copies of Jackknife History like Tsugu did in the anime. Jackknife History is still a very good card because choose a card with Jackknife card name and give it plus 4k attack and defense and counter attack. So basically your Granthese will be a 16k defense, which is pretty much unbreakable, and if they were to be foolish enough to attack you, they will get destroyed by a counter attack. So yeah, it's a flexible card. It depends on which one you're going to use. This is pretty much cheaper because it's a common card, but the art is so sick. Oh my god. So yeah, so 3 copies is just pretty much there for getting you extra soul. And when this card's in a soul of a Jackknife, that Jackknife gains plus 1k attack and 1k defense, which is nice to have. Yeah, so that's all the monsters we play. Let's go on to spells. Buddy Legends have so many good spells for Jackknife. So 4 copies of Jackknife statue. The reason why this card is so good is because it's not once per turn. Oh my god. Yes, it is so good. You may only cast this card if you have a Jackknife on the field. It has a cast cost of 1 life, which is pretty much free. Choose one of the following 2 effects. Charge 2 gauge and draw a card. And he has a second ability as well. Put up to 1 item from your deck into your hand and shuffle your deck. Really good because right now we have 11 chances to go into Go Ritter, which makes this deck really consistent and really powerful. Next is 4 copies of Jackknife Gift, specially made for Go Ritter. Its ability is pay 1 gauge and use the following skills. Choose a Jackknife from your drop zone and put it in the soul of a Jackknife on the field. So it basically helps you fuel up your soul in order to set up for Go Ritter. If you do, search your deck for 1 Jackknife Go Ritter and add it to your hand. So it's a really good card because it helps you, not only gives you like free soul, it also helps you search out your Go Ritter in order to go for that card. And also something to note is, search your deck for Jackknife Go Ritter. While in the deck, this card is also treated as Go Ritter due to the text. So you could either search out your Granthese or Go Ritter with this card. And its second ability, if you have a Jackknife Go Ritter on the field, you can draw a card and gain 3 life. Life is really important because once you go into Granthese, your life is 5 or less. It still puts you in a bit of risk of maybe impacts. And this card really helps it because once you gain 3 life, your opponents will have a lot of problem taking you down because of Granthese's ability to nullify damage, which is really powerful. So 4 copies of Jackknife Gift staple in the deck. Also want to note that this card is not once per turn, so it's really good. 3 copies of Jackknife Joint. So yeah, cast cost, pay 1 life and discard a card with Jack in its name. So really good because sometimes you do have a lot of extra Jacks in your hand. Discard it for free draw power. You can draw 2 cards. It's basically a Dragon Arms Factory for Jackknife. Yeah, and also sometimes the pay 1 life is not a bad thing because paying life in order to go to Go Ritter is very important. So yeah, the ad is very nice with the Suku and Jack. So just 3 copies of Jackknife Joints. 4 is too much because it's only once per turn, but nonetheless it's still a nice card to have in order to discard the extra Jacks. Now next up, we play 2 copies of Dragonic Charge Plus, as used by Tsuku in the enemy to charge an insane 5 gauge, really good, because when you are 5 life or less is when gauge is most crucial. It is a time where you want to transform the Go Ritter and you do need a lot of gauge. So charging 5 gauge instantly makes sure that you won't have any gauge problem for the rest of the game. 5 gauge is incredible, it's like a hyper energy on steroids, so 2 copies, really good. I'm glad Tsuku used it. 2 copies of Sky Dragon Divinity. It is basically draw power for any Dragon World deck. You may only cast this card if you have 10 or less cards in your drop zone. Pay 1 gauge and 1 life. Send 3 cards from the drop zone to the bottom of the deck in any order. This is actually quite important for the deck because sometimes if you happen to have all 3 Go Ritters in your drop zone, you are kind of screwed. Whereas if you can Sky Dragon Divinity, you can send it back to your deck, so you can search it out with your Jackknife gift. So play 2 copies just in case. And also the paying 1 life helps you bring you down to 5 life, which is really important as well, in order to fulfill your condition of activating Dragon Force. Now, 2 copies of Time Sale. Same reason, it allows you to bring your life down to 5 and draw extra cards to your hand. And you can cast this card for free when you have 3 life or less. Really good because most of the time we do play at really low life count. So life control and free pluses is welcome in the deck. So 2 copies of Time Sale. Now let's go on to the Dragon Shields. 4 copies of the Tsuku Ryuenji Green Dragon Shield. Love the art and it suits really well for the deck. 95 attack and gain 1 life, really important in the deck because your opponent is gonna most likely link attack you due to the fact that all their damage is gonna be reduced by 2. Most of the time they're gonna link attack you, cast 1 Green Dragon Shield and end their turn. Gaining life is also really important in Go Ritter deck. And now 4 Blue Dragon Shields, pretty much a staple in all Dragon World deck. 95 attack and gain 1 gauge, retrieves extra resource, perfect for the deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed my deck profile on the Jackknife Go Ritter Granthese deck from Dragon World. And if you guys would like to see more Buddyfight deck profiles, be sure to subscribe to my channel and like my Facebook page. And if you guys do like my content and wish to support me, please check out my online shop www.buddy-mug.com. Links will be in the description box down below. We sell Buddyfight decks and singles and we mail worldwide, so check us out. So thanks for watching again, peace out and love you guys. Ritter.